So welcome back. For those of you who were in the morning session this morning, you learned all about the Xpressdocs dashboard as a whole. The next two classes that we have today are going to go into some of the different products and programs that are available in Xpressdocs. And first up is going to be Xpressdocs just listed and just sold cards. Certainly something that comes up from time to time fairly often. And we want to be able to show that how you can go ahead and go in and set up your own just listed, just sold cards and get those out right away. We also want to show you some of the different options that are available in the system for just listed, just sold, and for just postcards in general while we're there. Just as a quick reminder, it is November 10th of 2023. So some of this information may change if you've looked at this down the road. Hopefully, if anything major has changed, we have either scheduled or have already done another recording, but just know that some things may have changed if you're looking at this at a later date. If you need any help with Xpressdocs in the future, placing an order, or you have more questions about just listed, just sold, you can always contact us at marketing@rwtown.com. Again, that's marketing@rwtown.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. All right, so let's get started with Xpressdocs just listed, just sold cards. So I am in rwtconnect.com today. Again, that is our local intranet just for RW Town agents. This is where we connect you to all of our different vendors and products that we have available to us. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down this morning, and I'm going to go to that tool section right here in the middle. So notice we start with business and email, and then we have marketing and productivity tools. And these are all of our different vendor partners that we have right now that are available for you. Xpressdocs is a button on our marketing and productivity tools. You can also find this link under the under the quick links at any time as well. We duplicate all of that under this button as well. If you click Xpressdocs from rwtconnect.com, this is a SSO or a single sign-in. You will not need another username or password. Just as a quick reminder, if this is the first time you've logged into Xpressdocs, you're going to see a window before this one. That window is just going to make sure that you are who you say you are. You're going to make sure that all of your information is correct, and you're going to want to go ahead and choose your actual shipping address. This is really important for those agents, again, who belong to maybe more than one office or belong to a division, but they're physically located in another office. We want to make sure that all of your products are getting shipped to the right area. So this comes in handy if you're in new homes, or again, maybe in property management, where you are based out of a division, which of course comes out of one of our other offices, but you may be physically located in a different location outside the division address. So do be sure to make sure you choose your correct shipping address. Any other time you log into Xpressdocs from there forward, you're going to be dropped onto this dashboard right here. So today we're going to cover just listed, just sold cards. And there's a couple of easy ways that you can do just listed, just sold in this system. One of the things I want to talk about today is that auto property marketing. There's a button right here for auto property marketing right here in the middle. You'll also see this under programs called APM. Anytime that there is a major change to a listing in the system, this all connects together with all of your different listings and profiles and things like that. You should get an email from the system with the auto property marketing that just says, hey, we see that something has happened. So they're a new listing or maybe price change or something like that. And it's going to say, here are the products that we have already prepared for you so that you can go ahead and quickly either do a brochure or just listed, whatever you want to do on there. That is a great prompt for you to be able to log in and get your just listed, just sold, whatever it happens to be, out quickly. If for whatever reason you don't get that email, or you need to go back and work with those different products, or you just want to send something like a just listed or a price reduced or something like that in the future, certainly you can log on to Xpressdocs. And again, you can hit that auto property marketing button. It's going to take you right to that same dashboard you would have landed on if you had clicked in the email. You can also go up here to programs and click APM to get to that same section. If you're looking to just send a just listed card or just sold card that's outside of, that email that you have, the button you'll be looking for is right here. That's under property postcards. But today I want to focus on something really quickly, and that's the just listed cards using My Listings. It's probably the easiest way in the system to be able to send something out. So I'm going to go up here to My Listings in the navigation bar, and I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's going to bring in all of your different listings that you have. And then it's going to have a button here called Create Marketing Materials. This is going to bring you to a dashboard. Let me go ahead and choose a property here. And it's going to say that you're being directed to a list of things that you can do. We're focused on just listed, just sold right now, but I do want you to see that you do have access to do a quick property brochure. It's going to work the same way as this just listed, just sold card. You also have the ability to have something with the luxury collection. If you're in that particular program and your property qualifies, you'll have that button available to you as well. You do have this XD Plus button available on here, which is for a different kind of print and social program. We don't need XD Plus because we have other things in our toolbox. So we don't need a subscription to that. Our BHHS marketing resource covers a lot of those social, just listed, just sold programs, and any other social needs you would need for this particular property. So let's take a look at those just listed, just sold. So I'm going to go ahead and click on property postcards. And it's going to bring me up to lots of different options here. We're just going to choose one for an example today, but just know that you can choose whatever you want to in here. You're going to have a couple of different sizes as well, and that's going to be right up front for you. So on these just listed, just sold postcards, you're going to see that you have this large. That large is basically going to be a half sheet of paper. So it's a 5.5 by 8.5 postcard. So just think of that as a half sheet of paper. You also have what we call the small postcard. So that finish size is 4.25 by 5.5. So that's going to be kind of those small postcards that you see come out in your postal system. We always encourage you to use the large cards if you have that in your budget, and that is in your marketing plan, only because we know that large cards get seen more than the small cards. You also have the ability to add additional photos and more verbiage. You have some other options with those as well, but we do have both small cards and large cards in here. I want you to take a look at this and notice that we have a couple of different designs for you here as well. Remember, these are the stock designs. If you're looking for something very specific and you're just listed just sold cards and you need a custom design, you are always welcome to put that order in with marketing. There's a great button on RWT Connect called Order Marketing Materials. You can certainly request something in your own design, or if you need something special, the marketing department is certainly happy to do that for you. But if you would like something that's nice and easy, completely branded and customizable on here, we do have these options available for you. I'm going to go ahead and just choose this first one here because it has a lot of different options to it. So we'll be able to take a look at a bunch of different things. And this is the 1, 2, 3, or 4 photo large card. This means that I can choose up to 4 photos for this card on the front. So if I only have one and I want to go with that big statement piece, I can certainly do that. But if I want to highlight other features of the property, I can choose additional photos as well. Just give it a second and it's going to load. It's going to start to load your dashboard here for creating a product. This is, again, the same throughout the whole system. You're going to give it an order name. It's going to automatically go ahead and put in that address. If you are sending this out specifically, maybe for a specific campaign, or you're going to write something really customized, maybe this one is going to go out to your sphere. So you're going to talk maybe a little bit more personal versus something sending out to like a radius around a neighborhood or something like that, where it would be more generic. Do make sure that you just mark that in your order. Try to leave the address in the order form. It really helps us be able to find orders in the future. You also have a dashboard for your pending orders and your order history. It is searchable, so it does make life a lot easier if you leave the address in there as well, but you can certainly go ahead and put something after this if you wanted to. It's going to give you a couple of different options. Remember, we chose that large card. We have the option to either mail it out directly, which is probably 99.9% of what we do out of Xpressdocs, because nobody wants to get a pile of 800 postcards at their desk where they have to print out mailing labels and put them on and get the delivery done and everything else. This auto mailing option is probably the best. But some of our other products in our system, things like maybe note cards and stuff like that, we might want to have shipped to us. Of course, shipping works great for brochures when they need to come in as well. So we're going to focus on this mailing tab here today. If anytime you need any pricing in this system, you'll notice that we have a couple of links here. You're going to see pricing tables. It's going to let you know when there's an upgrade and things like that. This is a very upfront system. So there's no hidden costs in here or things like that. You are going to be able to look at these pricing tables. You'll be able to look at the upgrades as we go through, and I'll point them out as we go. You do have the option of either doing first class mail or standard mail. First class mail is of course going to arrive very quickly. And this is in 3 to 5 business days right now. And then standard mail or EDDM, Elite EDDM, is a way of sending postcards to mail routes if you've never used EDDM before. And the delivery time on that is 5 to 15 business days. Usually with just listed and just sold, these are really important. We want to get these out really fast. I can't tell you the number of postcards that go out that are standard mail right now, just because it's been so slow. But first class mail is usually what we use, but the option is there for you. You may not use it for just listed, just sold. Maybe you're using first class mail for this, but it is an option there if you need it for something else. Anne, do you have a question?
Can you touch on the standard mail again, the EDDM? What does that mean?
So standard first class mail is obviously just like putting a stamp, like a regular stamp on a letter or postcard, putting it in the mail, you know, it gets delivered super fast. That's first class mail.
Right.
The standard mail is a different rate with the post office. It's not as fast. They do have an option to basically sit on it until it's ready to go to its different destinations and things like that. That's why the business days are extended. EDDM Elite is another type of mailing that can be done through the post office, and it's based on a route. So, Ralston, did you want to interject there?
That's what I need help on. What you just said, based on a route. What does that mean?
So I want you to think about the mail carrier and that mail truck that you see driving around the neighborhood. He or she has a certain amount of houses that he or she will hit as a part of their route. What you do is you're pretty much buying every house that carrier is going to hit. Now, it's not foolproof for real estate because let's say, for instance, you're dealing with a larger neighborhood. There might be 2 or 3 carrier routes in that neighborhood. So you can't just think that the one mail person you see would cover the whole community. Most times it's not. But that's what you're doing. You have to buy every door. It's every door direct marketing is what EDDM stands for. You have to buy the entire route for that carrier when you do that. We don't promote that often, Anne, because it's not foolproof. I think by downloading the list from the MLS and sending even standard mail, you're doing okay. And just on top of what Kristen said about the standard mail, think of it as kind of third class mail. Remember when it was delivered, when they were delineated that way, this would be about third class mail.
Okay. So you're effectively then missing some of the houses in that neighborhood by doing that route as well.
You possibly can, and as you go through the system, it's going to show you what it's going to hit. But we've done it. We've done it by looking at this with some agents before, and it just is not. It's not the real method that you should be using in order to target a neighborhood.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Anytime.
Just a quick note about standard mail too, because it is a slightly lower class of mail. Don't forget that it's also competing against other mailers in that same type of class. And right now that is going to include all of the holiday ads. It's going to include all of the different promotions and things like that. We have seen it take 15 days plus on some of this just because it's competing against so much mail this time of year. That also included recently, of course, the political mailings were also sent standard mail. So you can imagine the sheer volume of mail that's been going out.
And that's a very good point, Kristen. I think also we need to keep in mind a lot of agents will say, hey, I'd like my cards delivered to the office, and I will then have them sent by one of the mailing companies around town who send really using bulk mail service. The problem with that is, again, is time. I have seen a card that started its process and was finished within the first couple of days of the month, but after using the bulk mail process did not arrive to the houses until the very end of the month. There's a process there where the post office can actually sit on those for up to 14 days before releasing them to the carriers. So just be very careful when using that. I would encourage only using bulk mail if you have something that is being mailed well in advance and is not time sensitive at all in terms of when it hits the mailboxes.
All right. All right, so that's probably more than you've ever wanted to know about mail, but it's probably the #1 question that we get about some of the postcards and things like that that are sent out is how should I deliver it and what's my time frame? So we want to make sure that we cover that as best we can, just to be upfront about the timeframes on a lot of this mailing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it on first class mail because this is just listed. I want to make sure that we get it out to the neighbors right away. And then I'm going to come down to the paper type. Again, remember, you're going to see this XD Plus occasionally in here with this Postal Protect. We're already giving you gloss coating and it's free if you were to sign up for this. Outside of our company, gloss coating would actually have a cost to it. It's built into our system. So we don't need to worry about XD Plus because we're already giving you that great gloss coating that's going to make sure that it runs nice and smooth through those machines. But remember, I said it's very upfront if you want to change that at all. If you wanted to go with a matte coating, which is kind of, it's obviously not a gloss coating. It's just a flatter coating. It's going to be a 15 cents. The Gloss Postal Protect is just an even higher gloss. Our gloss coating works perfectly fine. And then we do have a soft touch Postal Protect as well. If you've ever felt a magazine that was soft touch, it almost feels like very fine velour. It's a really interesting product. Sometimes we put it on really high-end pieces that are going out. If you really want to make a statement and impression, that's always a kind of an interesting thing to do. But again, that's going to be that cost per card on here. So we want to be very upfront with that for you, that there is an additional cost on that if you wanted to choose a different paper type. Most of our stuff is done with just the gloss coating on it, and it works great. You can, at this point in time, go ahead and start downloading PDFs. You're going to find that this is going to be throughout the whole system. At any time, it's going to allow you to download PDFs or look at proofs and things like that if you actually want to look at it in a slightly different way. I'm going to go ahead and hit that customize button. And again, this is just going to take you right on through the different processes of sending out this card. So we've gone from our product option, we've chosen the size, we know what type of postcard we're sending out, we've let it know what kind of mailing we want, we've chosen our paper type, and now we can go into customizing this. And again, this system works the same way, whether you're in postcards or brochures or things like that, you're going to be able to make these changes and kind of these windows work very similarly throughout the whole system. I want you to notice the different tabs here. One of the things that gets missed fairly often is that the back right here is going to be a tab that is a very, very light color. So we're going to work on the front first, and then we're going to go to the back, and we'll be able to go ahead and make our changes. Remember, I said that this postcard had options for photos. It's going to start out at that 1 photo option, but if I wanted to add 2 photos, 3 photos, or 4 photos, I can just go ahead and choose that from the drop down. And again, you're going to see that throughout all the different products in here. If there's an opportunity to add more photos, it's going to have that drop down for you to choose the different photos in here. I do want you to notice that it's not going to 6 or 8 photos just because that wouldn't look great on a large postcard. So it is also keeping you not only within brand standards, but also making sure that these postcards look amazing when they go out. You do have an opportunity to change some of these photos if you need to. You'll notice when I hover over the postcard that is starting to give me that little finger pointer, which means I can click on some things to change it. And if I click on that, notice there's a tiny little blue bar that comes around, but it's also giving me this little image icon right here. And if I select that, it's going to go ahead and bring in the images that were available from the MLS. So for example, this one, maybe I want to show this great aerial shot of the backyard with this fire pit. I'm going to go ahead and just choose that and hit insert. And it'll go ahead and change that photo out for me. You can certainly do it with any photo here as well. Certainly you can change the order if you want to as well. You can change the text on the front. So if you wanted to maybe change this DR to drive instead of the capital DR, you can certainly do that. If you click in something, again, there's that little blue bar that's going to go all the way around. And you'll see a little icon that pops up, and that's going to let you know what you can do in this. So in this case, you can edit this item. It's going to pop up this tiny little text box here. We don't have a lot of options in here. Again, it's trying to keep everything within the right size, making sure that the font is readable. So it's just giving us these limited options in some of these boxes. And we can certainly go ahead and change that price if we wanted to as well, or we can add something additional down here if we wanted to. Don't get too creative with this front. Just make sure that it's very readable. You only have a few seconds when people are going to grab this in their mailbox. We want to make sure that we're conveying as much as possible kind of right up front. We have seen people try to put a ton of text on here, and we can certainly put a lot more on the back if we want to. But we always try to encourage you to keep the front like some amazing photos and then just right up front with either the address or just listed or something like that on the front. In order to do the back, we can go ahead and just click that back tab up here. There we go. Notice that the system says it auto saved my changes to the front. So it knew I made changes and I could have either hit the save button or it's going to let me know that it auto saved for me because I did make some changes. And here's where it's going to let me make changes to the back. And again, this is pulling in from your profile. If you need to make any changes to this, you can click on your profile photo at the top and click on profile. It'll change it throughout the whole system. You can also change it right here if you need to. So if you need to do maybe a one-off change here, or you want to add something to this, you certainly can as we go. We have a couple of new options on here, which I'd love to point out. If you haven't used this system lately, we do have some new AI tools that are built into the system. So if you're not sure what you want to say, or maybe the text is a little bit long, or you want to just give it a little bit of a pizzazz, you can certainly use some of the AI text tools that are built in here now. They are in beta, so make sure that you're previewing and making sure that you're reading everything all the way through, just to make sure it's really what you want to say, it doesn't violate anything and things like that. We do have the option in here of doing multiple headshots or a team headshot as well. So if you're sending this out on behalf of a team and maybe you have a team headshot that needs to go in, maybe a 2-person team or something like that, you can certainly do that. Maybe you have a co-lister and you're sending out something that has both of your names on it and both of your photos, or maybe you're a team that has an individual photo. You can certainly add 2 headshots in here as well. And again, this is going to work the same way as that property photo. If I click that, it's going to give me an image to be able to upload. Right. So it's going to start asking us for things like the headline. So this is a great opportunity to maybe put the subdivision, or in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put just listed. You can use the AI text tools for this headline if you want to, and you'll see this in some of the brochures and postcards now, where you'll be able to generate new text. So if you type in a few keywords, it's going to try to come up with a headline for you. I find that the AI tools, let's see here, are better suited for the description just because it has more to work with. If you're ever stuck for copy for whatever reason, you'll also notice that there are a couple of buttons in here called suggested copy. You'll see this kind of throughout the system. If you're not 100% sure what to say, you just maybe need some inspiration or something like that, it will bring up some suggested comments that you can put in here. So in this case, it has the description, but maybe we want to switch this to, I've just listed a home in your neighborhood and I'd be happy to do the same for you. For information on selling your home or for free market evaluation, please give me a call. We can certainly go ahead and put that text in there as well. So do use the suggested copy if you just need some inspiration. It is going to bring in the description of the property. And of course, this is the public remarks. Your AI tools are a little bit different on some of these larger sections here, where you can ask it to either reword it or maybe summarize it or even generate new text. So if you have a property where you have a lot of verbiage in there and you maybe just want to summarize it, maybe you just want to reduce the size of some of that text, I'll just show you what this looks like on here. And it's just going to go ahead and summarize that text for us and just kind of give it a shorter description. This really comes in handy if you're using maybe one of the smaller postcards where you don't have as much room, or even if you have a brochure where you have some verbiage on it where you may need to put a little bit maybe under each photo or maybe a little bit in each section where you need it to summarize your text. And again, just as a reminder that these tools are in beta, so do make sure that you are reading everything before it goes out. Again, you have the option here of, oops, let me take this off my 2 headshots so that it doesn't give me that error there. And again, you do have the option of changing some of your contact information if you need to here. So if you wanted to add your designations, you can certainly do that. If you needed to change your agent information, maybe add your website or add an additional photo, you can certainly add that information here as well. For those of you who may be required to put a license number on any of your marketing materials, here's your option to go ahead and put that on. Of course, this agent is a Virginia-based agent. We don't have to put our licensing disclosure on here. And then the branch return address. is, of course, in this case, our office address here. Just a word of caution. Yes, this is an editable field, but it's really, really important for disclosure purposes that we make sure that we leave these branch return addresses alone. Occasionally, we'll see someone who changes it maybe to a home address or something like that. We need to make sure that we maintain the office address in here where your license hangs. It's a really important part. So from here, I can either save this, maybe go back to the front and make any additional changes I need to. I can download my proof. So here's that opportunity to download a PDF proof if I need to, or I can go ahead and click save and check out. And it's really easy from here. We're going to have a couple of options here. We just have to tell it where to go. So this is where those mailing options come in handy again. It's just going to confirm the things that we've already said that we want to mail. It's going to go out first class. And then we have an option to create or select an address list. And that's that blue button right here. So here are our options for those address lists. We can certainly upload a list. This comes in handy for doing things like neighborhoods and stuff like that. You can certainly pull out a neighborhood from Realist from the MLS. It works great to be able to download all those addresses and be able to re-upload them here. So you can certainly upload a list. You can upload a list from your sphere, whatever you happen to have. You can go ahead and upload your own list in here. You can also do something called a radius list, and that is literally what it sounds like. You're going to pick a pinpoint, and it's just going to go ahead and send out to all of the different properties around that radius. So it's going to ask you for that property address, and it's going to ask you for a quantity, which we do love. So if you only want to send out, for example, 100 just listed, just sold cards, and you want to send it out to the 100 homes that are in that same radius around this particular property, you would just pop in that property address and zip code, let it know what kind of homes you want to send to, either single or multifamily, single family only or multifamily only, and then your quantity. And then you'll go ahead and search, and it'll go ahead and build that list out for you. And that way you can go ahead and save and use that list. Get back here. We do have an option to choose a street as well. So for example, if you know in this particular neighborhood that a radius won't work, maybe it's on the very, very edge of the neighborhood, or you want to send to very, very specific streets within a neighborhood or within a different location, you can certainly do that. What it's going to do is going to go ahead and bring in the street based on the street name that you put in here, and you can go ahead and choose as many as you need to. So we see this fairly often with neighborhoods that have really weird boundaries or just in a location where a radius just doesn't make sense. This happens a lot too if you have a property that also might be just off a heavily commercial area, or again, a property that is maybe right next to a lot of rental apartments or something like that, where you're looking for more single family homes. And last but certainly not least, we have that EDM saturation option. And again, we've explained what it is, but I'll let you guys take a look at this. Again, it doesn't work for a lot of different things. If you want to see something funny, you can always look at the EDDM maps that are available on USPS.com. They actually list out all the carrier routes. They're never in a straight line and they go everywhere. You would be surprised at some of the carrier lists and what they cover. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to look at those maps and see if it works for you. But for the most part, we're either uploading those lists from those tax records or uploading a list from our sphere of influence or maybe a maintained list. We're doing that radius list where we're just going to drop that point and it's just going to go all the way around in that circle. Or we're choosing very specific streets that we want to send to. One of the things I just want to note one more time on here is that even if you choose the radius list or the street list, it's going to give you that option of how many you want to send out. So if you put a street list in here and maybe it has 500 homes on all the streets that you chose, but you only want to send out 350 postcards, it's just going to choose 350 from that list of 500. So it is going to give you that option to balance your budget on there. In this case, we already have some lists that are maintained. This is one thing that I do love in this system. So if you use a list fairly often, maybe you have that sphere list or you have a list of a neighborhood that you've uploaded. You've downloaded all the addresses from Realist for a subdivision and you have uploaded it in here. You know that it's an established subdivision, so the addresses aren't going to change. it will save that. So once you upload it or once you use it, it will be available in here. This also comes in handy when we go and do the just sold card. It works exactly the same way as just listed. And that way, if you have sent out, this is a good example here, this is a radius list, there's that pinpoint around this particular address. When you go to send the just sold, you can also just click that and you won't have to choose that radius again. You'll know that those 50 cards are going to that radius around that home, and it's going to send it to the same group that got your just sold. So these do save in here, and you do have lots of different options in here as well. So some of these are mailing lists. You'll see MLs. These are things that have been uploaded. There's our radius. And this particular one happens to be a street. You'll notice that it has a little road right there. And that's because that particular mailing went out to that particular street. I'm going to go ahead and choose one of these just so that we can do a checkout here. And it's going to start again. Remember, I said everything was up front. So here is our address. This is what we're doing. There's our price. Our gloss coating isn't going to cost us anything extra. Our file download isn't costing us anything extra. And of course, that's just reiterating our mailing list. And there is our cost. If I go to proceed to checkout here, you'll have to excuse me, I've been playing in here today. You'll see that here's your different cart options. We can certainly delete some of these if we want to. But it's going to go ahead and give you some more options and some mailing options here as well. Occasionally from Xpressdocs, you'll see a promo code come out. They just had one around Halloween that was like a spooky 10 or something like that that gave you 10% off your mailing. Do keep an eye out for those. They're fairly common. Xpressdocs loves to give us codes, especially around major holidays. You can certainly go ahead and put that promo code in and redeem it. If you have any ad budget for whatever reason, it's going to be available in here. If you want to use it, you'll just slide that button over and it'll allow you to use your ad budget for this. And then it's going to go ahead and give you your cart summary. You're going to have to check that box that you agree and understand your responsibility, and then you're going to go ahead and submit that for approval. That's going to actually go to our approval dashboard on the corporate side. Again, on that approval dashboard, we're just looking for any kind of major errors. We're looking for anything where the photo might be too small. We're not going to necessarily look at it in absolute fine detail. We're looking for kind of those major things. Once we make sure that it's not violating fair housing, everything looks good, we'll go ahead and hit that submit button on our end, and it'll go ahead and send it off to Xpressdocs. And we do that at least once a day, if not multiple times a day, on the approval dashboard. If you, I'm not obviously going to submit this one for approval. If you need to take a look at your pending orders or your order history at any time, you can certainly do that under pending orders or order history up here. And I'm just going to take a look at one of those order histories just so you can see what that looks like. And here is that order history. You'll be able to see the order details. You'll be able to reorder it. You'll see the status of whether it's shipped or not. You'll be able to download a proof PDF or even download the photos again if you need to. Beth, did you have a question in here?
Hey, we have a group in here. We're in the bullpen.
Oh, sure.
Okay, hi. So I saw that you chose a list to mail for your postcards. It had 50 addresses, and then when you went to check out, it said 51. Does that mail automatically to yourself?
It does mail automatically to yourself. If we take a look at one of these order details here, actually this one is not going to have one. Let me see if I grab one here. Let me see if I may not have one in this particular one. Yes, it does send you one. So that is the other reason to make sure that your office address is correct in the system, is because it's actually going to send you a copy of this, so you can certainly keep it for your files and also use it for your presentation.
I have one too, Kristen.
One thing to keep in mind on those cards that are mailed to you, they're not mailed all the time at the exact time that your big mailing went out. So if by chance you do not get your card within a few days and you're wondering, hey, did everything else go out? Don't use that as your barometer. You can always come in here, and in the order history section, you can see the status of your order, whether or not it's been delivered by the Postal Service and that sort of thing. But many times we'll get questions from agents that said, hey, I got my card, but my neighbors didn't seem to get theirs. It's not sent at the same time. It's pulled and then sent to you separately.
Wait, can you hear me? Can you show us where the status?
Sure. Kristen, if you go under my orders. Okay, you can do it there too. Yep, either one works. All right. And then we're gonna go under order. Yeah, go under shipped. Yep. And this will show you if something was sent directly to you. In the case of a mail out, you'll actually be able to click on, there's a little mailing truck, and it'll actually show you where it is in the postal system as best they can give you. I'm not certain if you have any of those in her account.
Yeah, we don't have it. We don't have it in this one. The last one was a
But
co-listing that went out in a mailer. Yep.
Yep. But if you go under there under the shipped section, it'll actually say mailed there instead of shipped, and it'll show you where it is in the postal process. It can only go so far. It can't show you truck by truck, but it can show you at least that it's been given to the postal carrier and where it is in that process.
I have another one, Kristen.
Sure.
If the agent does not have their own, and they utilize a listing from the company program.
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of echoes on this side, so I missed that question.
I don't know how to stop that, but if they don't have their own listing, can they pull a listing from another agent and put the mailer together? So for instance, if they want to do an open house mailer, they want to do a target marketing to a certain community for another agent's listing.
So in that case, only the My Listing section shows up for your own listings. You would basically do the same thing, except you would just upload the property photos. So if you were to go to property postcards, here's all of our options again for that property postcard. If I open this, it's just going to give me photo 1, photo 2, photo 3, and it's going to allow me to just go ahead and make that upload happen. So this is actually a good segue because this actually goes into the just solds as well. So same thing, if you have a just sold that needs to go out, of course, we can't use sold photos from co-brokes and things like that. We will need to make our own photos to upload. We'll go ahead and upload those photos in here as well. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, Lisa, did you have a question?
Yeah, back when you had the status of the orders, there's a little Facebook and LinkedIn, and what were those things for?
Let me go back to my order status here. Hold on one second.
Yeah, down on the lower right, those things.
So
Thanks.
those belong to that XD plus section. We usually send and share this kind of stuff straight out of marketing resource of BHHS instead, just to make sure that everything is branded and formatted. And we automatically know that it uploads because we have that connection in marketing resource.
So we wouldn't use those.
I wouldn't. I would use the one out of marketing resource just because it is already connected to all of your socials automatically. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. You're welcome. Did anybody else have any questions on just listed, just sold? All right, if there are no questions, I'll go ahead and end this session and